Hey guys, it's Jordan here, and today I wanted to give an update at the 2 week point for hormone replacement therapy. So I just wanted to kind of do this hopefully every couple of weeks because what I found is I wanted to get an idea of sort of more intermediate points than the monthly or 3 month updates that I've seen a lot of people posting. Um, and this is just to kind of give people an idea of what sort of initial effects that they might experience when they start undergoing a feminizing hormone therapy for transition. Um, so, without further ado, here we go. It's been a very interesting couple of weeks. I was on break from school this whole time, which I think was good. I tried to plan it out like that so that I could have time to sort of mentally adjust to being on estrogen. Um, but with that said, I didn't realize that the mental adjustments were going to kind of start in this second week and continue on for quite some time. Um, so, what I noticed was the very first thing, and I think I mentioned this in my last video, but I've had some very vivid dreams, and that has continued on. Um, There haven't really been any bad dreams since that first night, and I think that was mostly due to other stressors going on in my life at the time. But definitely the vividness of the dreams, like they feel more real than I'm normal or than I'm used to. So that's been really interesting, though it hasn't been distressing, which is a good thing, and it hasn't interfered with my sleep. One thing that has been waking me up in the night, though, is the urge to go pee. So as I explained previously, spironolactone is a diuretic medication, which means that it's going to cause your body to emit more fluid as opposed to retaining more fluid. And so you're going to urinate more frequently. And I found that typically about an hour and a half after I have taken the spironolactone, I start to urinate fairly frequently. I'd say probably once an hour, maybe once every hour and a half. With that said, I am also drinking plenty of water, so there's stuff for me to pee out. But um, yeah, that is one thing that has been a little frustrating and a little annoying. I never really used to wake up in the night to have to go to the bathroom, but now I'm finding myself having to do that at least once a night, maybe twice. Um, so that has been a little annoying. Um, But I think the toughest part to deal with so far, and this also might be due to just other circumstances in my life, so they might only apply to me personally, but I did find that this second week of being on estrogen and spironolactone was mentally a tough week. Um, I wouldn't say that I was feeling depressed. I still had the energy to go out and do things if I wanted to go run errands, take care of the things that I had to do. But I just was feeling down. Um, and I couldn't really put any sort of specific feeling to it other than saying that I'm feeling down. It wasn't like I was sad. It was just a general feeling of not being as content as I typically am. And it could have been to do with the fact that I was on break and I wasn't seeing many people because a lot of people were visiting home for their break, and my friends really weren't around much in Detroit. Um, but things definitely did feel a little better. On Saturday, I got together with a friend. We went out that night, and I did feel a lot better the following day, as well as the remainder of that day. But another thing that I wanted to address that kind of went hand in hand with that whole feeling down thing, and is the reason why I'm shooting this video without all of my makeup done and wearing my wig and my prosthetic breasts. Um, I've noticed that I kind of feel my dysphoria even more right now. And I think this is just because like I had been waiting so long to get to my appointment, and I figured it was going to take some time for all the blood work and everything before I could go for my appointment with an endocrinologist to actually starting the estrogen. But it was all a really fast turnaround. And I got caught up in all of that. Like all of this was happening. I had just finished year one of med school, saw my family for the first time, got my endocrinologist appointment out of the way, got my blood work done and sperm cryopreservation, and then here I was starting estrogen. And it was all just being kind of pushed along really rapidly. And getting caught up in that, I didn't keep in mind, this is still a long waiting process. And just because I'm on the medications now doesn't mean that I'm going to start seeing effects right away. And of course, it's so difficult with something that you've been so excited about and done so much research on to not be constantly like trying to see, like, oh, is this a little breast growth? Does my butt look a little bigger? And all sorts of stuff like that. And, I think that was contributing a bit to me feeling down. And some things that I noticed were that taking off my makeup at night was one of the more difficult times of the day for me. And it kind of made me prolong my days, and I would stay up later to avoid having to take off my makeup. And also, I take off the breasts that I wear when I go to sleep. So that was another reason I didn't really want to go to bed. And I decided this weekend that in order to kind of combat the dysphoria and learn to love myself more, that I was going to do a full face of makeup less often and start wearing my natural hair more often, and also stop wearing the prosthetic breasts. So that's not to say I won't ever wear them. Maybe I will if I decide to go out one night and I want to do something different with my hair, like the red wig that I have. I like that one a lot. Um, but overall, I think that trying to embrace the natural me is probably a good long-term solution for my mental health, because ultimately it was like at the end of the day, I have to kind of revert back to this other person, and that's not how I want to feel about myself in this transition. And for that reason, I think it's going to be a powerful thing for me to move forwards. And, it's kind of difficult to see facial hair growing back, and I just shaved this morning. But the makeup doesn't cover it completely, it just conceals it, and it starts to poke through by the end of the day anyway. And that bothered me to begin with, but you know what? This is my face, and when I do eventually go through laser hair removal, and part of the process is you have to let the hair actually grow out for a few days. And then after you've received laser treatment, you have to let it grow out for a few days after that still. So it's something I'm going to have to learn to deal with when I do eventually seek out laser hair treatment. And I figure it's probably easier on me if I start now. So the theme is learning to love what I've got and not be so focused on what's to come, because there's so much to come and it's going to be great, but it's going to be a long process. Like I explained in the last video, this takes years to see the full effects of these medications that we're taking to transition. Another thing I did want to mention before I get going is I have started to notice some very, very minimal physical changes at this 2 week point. Um, so my skin does feel a little bit softer, definitely along like my arms and my face feels a bit softer too, but I've also been moisturizing my face every day for a little while now. Um, I haven't noticed any really like changes in the fullness of my face, no fat redistribution around the cheeks. I was thinking maybe my chin feels a little softer. There may be a little accumulation of fat going on right here. But what I have noticed is around like right here where my chest and arm meet up, there seems to be a little extra fat collecting over here, as well as like right around the nipples. So it's not breast growth in terms of actual breast tissue, but it seems like there is some subcutaneous fat working its way into those areas. Um, I've also noticed that my butt has a little more weight to it. You know, I can't really tell visually if there's anything different, but if I like put my hand under a butt cheek and I try to lift it up, it feels a little heavier than what I can remember. So I'm thinking that there's probably some fat redistribution going on there too. Um, and just to give you guys an idea, like I said, this is the 2 week update, and today was the day that I took my third dose of estrogen. So this is officially day 15 of being on estrogen and spironolactone. And I'll be back in a couple of weeks to give you guys another update. And hopefully, I can also get a video up soon about what it's like being a medical student going through transition and offer up some advice for any of you medical students or pre-med students or people simply considering a career in medicine. And yeah, we'll get talking about that soon. So thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and as always, I'll see you next time.